Hey, Scott Cook coming to you here from Flying Field Outfitters in Bend, Oregon. Thought we'd run through some leaders here real quick. Leader tippet material, kind of how we use them and where we use them in some of our local waters around here. Got a couple different companies we'll introduce, Umpqua and Rio. We've got Frog Hair and Trout Hunter. All great. A lot of times, in my opinion anyways, the Umpqua and Rio tend to be the two top companies that we sell the most of. Really comes down to almost like a Ford Chevy type thing. They're both great companies, great product, but more importantly it's how we use them and what usages we actually apply these. They do come in 3-packs also, which can save you a little bit of money in packaging and whatnot. 3-packs $12.95, single packs $4.95 for your standard material. We do have nylon and we have fluorocarbon also. The nylon material is going to be less expensive. Fluorocarbon is going to be a little bit more expensive. Couple of, again, advantages and disadvantages to material. Fluorocarbon sinks, so typically in a dry fly situation you're not going to be looking to fish fluorocarbon. You're going to be looking to pretty much strictly fish nylon. These are all tapered leaders also, so they started at like a 20 or 30 pound test and taper all the way down to 4X, 5X, 6X tippet, which is where you're going to connect your fly. So the fluorocarbon works really well for us when we're streamer fishing or when we're nymph fishing, and we use a lot of that in this area. So a lot of times what I do personally, and you got to be careful with your knot strength, is I'll have a nylon leader with a fluorocarbon tippet coming off the end of it. If allows me to fish a nymph or fish a dry dropper type scenario, and add some fluorocarbon tippet to the end of the material. The downfall to it is as you're tying the knot together, there can be some friction there, and you can lose some of the durability and strength in the material. So let's talk a little bit about length. I would say our standard leader for this area is a 9-foot. We do have and sell 4-footers that we use for sink tips, 7.5-footers we use quite a bit during salmon fly season, during streamer season, and also on some of our smaller creeks and stuff like that. So a 7.5-foot leader really applies. A 9-foot leader for us is probably our most common leader length that we use. Common durability would be 3X through 6X, and you should really kind of have each one of those for our area around here. We do sell 10-foot and 12-foot leaders also. Again, if you get in a real spring creek type situation, or you're in a lake type situation where the water's clear, and you want to get further away from your fly line and where your presentation, that's where your 12-foot and even 15-foot leaders are going to come into play as really spooky fish. The biggest thing that typically spooks a fish is the shadow that's created in your fly line. So as your leader is turning over, your line's laying out, having a longer length leader is typically going to give you more separation from your fly line to your fly in those really spooky fish situations. So 7.5-foot leaders again are going to be really good for accuracy and for presentation and getting that fly exactly where you want it to be. Smaller water most of the time, and or a bigger, heavier fly, you're going to have a shorter leader that's going to turn over and get more punch and power out of it. 9-foot's our standard. 12 and 15-footers are for spooky fish. Thanks for tuning in.